Anyway, this is the best representation of my second car, which was a 2004 Subaru Impreza WRX. Um, it had Java Black Pearl, but I'm not going to be able to get that in this game. Um, sorry, the dogs think they hear something outside, but they don't because they're just crazy. This is a much faster version than what it was in real life. In real life, I got it to stage 2, which was up pipe, down pipe, and then an intake. And it wasn't really part of the package, but my turbo had like some cool upgrades to it. The he the guy who rebuilds the guy who I know, he rebuilds turbos and then he puts better parts in them too. He ported and polished the turbo, which was a TD04, and he put in an aftermarket billet compressor wheel, so so it could boost a little harder than stock, and it was also ported so it had better airflow as well. But that was basically it in terms of mods. I had an exhaust, but it wasn't. I honestly should have gotten a. If I could go back and redo things on this car, I definitely would have done it better. But yeah, it was a used exhaust from my cousin had a WRX as well, and he took his off to upgrade his, and I just took it. So I mean, it wasn't great, but it did sound pretty good. Um, yeah, I bought this car and it was stock, and then I did most of the modifications myself. Um, but I would say it's probably, out of all the vehicles I've owned, it's probably the one that I regret selling the most because I just had so much fun driving it, and everything that it could do was pretty fun, and I felt really cool when I was in it. But yeah, I don't know. It's overall it was a great car. I'm sure people who hate Subarus will tell you differently. Yes, I did have to replace the head gaskets on it, but the car also had like, when I did it, had like 160,000 miles on it. So I mean, it wasn't really too far out of the realm of needing a head gasket issue, or them needing to be redone anyway. Um, the differential broke at one point, and after the differential broke, I got it replaced. But there was always like this weird grinding noise that I never really knew what that was. Like I never really took the time to figure it out because I mean, I also wasn't super mechanically inclined when I owned this car, and it's I think we put on a different drive shaft to make it so that it was serviceable. So, because like a lot of the drive shafts in cars like these, you can't really do much to service them. It was either the drive shaft or yeah, it was the drive shaft that did that. And yeah, we put that in there, and I don't think I ever really balanced the drive shaft, and that could have been the hum, is what some people were thinking, but I mean, it also could have been the differential because it wasn't like loud enough where you could specifically tell where it was coming from. And once again, I wasn't really mechanically inclined at that point to try to figure it out. But I mean, looking back on the car, there wasn't really a ton that needed to be done. But I don't know, it was a great car. Like, I mean, almost everything that had to do with that car was something that I loved. And the reason why I got rid of it was because the same guy who sold me the turbo, he told me about a car that would have more capable ability of producing power at being an all-wheel drive car. So I was just like, yeah, I'll just sell this car and then buy that car. And like every decision I've ever made with a car, I would say this was probably the dumbest decision. And if you're the turbo guy who was doing all that stuff, I don't really blame for any of it. I think a lot of it had to do with things that were kind of out of our hands. And I'll tell you some of the story of that one for the next video. But the car was a 1999 Subaru Impreza GS or Subaru Impreza. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I was just staring at the car. 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. It's one of the top ones that you'd want for an Eclipse. Had the 4G63T, or yeah, and engine, and anyway, that one has way crazier stories than any of my other cars. So the next video will be more exciting in terms of stories. But anyway, this car, if I didn't sell it, I would have been super happy. But I mean, I shouldn't have sold. It was just kind of like one of those things. It's like if you're in stocks and you sell something that then explodes, it kind of is sort of that feeling. Because now people are trying to sell you, like, they're trying nowadays to like inflate the price of those, and a lot of them are really bad. And they're like, it's definitely one of those classic cars where it's like, I know what I own sort of thing, where everybody thinks that it's worth way more than it actually is. But I mean, that's also kind of how used car prices are right now. In terms of the car that I owned, it was a '04, so the headlights and the taillight situation were slightly different. I let my cousin talk me into doing the massive spoiler on the back because there was a kid who wanted to swap trunks for one that was spoilerless, and looking back, I probably wouldn't have done that again. And then I tried to put that rear window spoiler on, and the one that I bought was really cheap, and it bowed in the middle, and it looked kind of bad. And I put on an STI head scoop, but those were about the modifications other than like tint. But the wheels that are on here are a close representation of the wheels that I had on. And once again, looking back, I definitely would have gotten different wheels because, I mean, these look okay, but those look okay. The real ones in real life were really bland and boring. But anyway, so the next episode will be on 1999 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. Thanks. That was a bad line.